just curious, how did you think you played after watching the tape? And you've had some success on your deep balls as well this year. Is there anything you're doing there that allows you to kind of just let it loose a little bit more than maybe your first year here?
Um, I I did buzz through the film pretty quick. The night of the game, just trying to real fast get through it on such a short week. I mean, I think it's important. It doesn't necessarily even help you moving forward. So just try to go through it, make sure I was seeing things correctly. As far as the deep ball is concerned, certainly I think a product of the protection up front and the guys running it downfield. We got great guys that go up and compete, make contested catches, and certainly make you feel good giving them opportunity balls. And those guys continue to make plays downfield. So, which is great. Obviously, as a quarterback, that's what you want. So, but again, going back to the film, is but buzzed it fast and quickly got on to Dallas.
John Kime.
Hey, Alex, where do you feel that you're more comfortable even after just playing a few weeks?
Are you asking, do I feel more comfortable? Sorry.
No, where do you feel more comfortable
where?
after having played a few weeks?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that innate trust, no self-doubt, going out there and playing loose and free is the biggest thing. And I really feel like I have the last 2 weeks. Just felt like I'm going out and playing quarterback. I'm going out and executing the offense. And certainly there's a chunk of the game that's choreographed, and then there's a big chunk that's not. And I think that's the part I continue to feel better and better with as the more reps I get. That I do feel confident, obviously, in all those situations.
Is there ever, looking at this game and this division, you've been around a long time, is there part of you that just kind of like, I don't know, almost chuckles to yourself or something like that when you look at 3-7 and you still got a good shot here?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, every year or so or a couple of years, there's always a division that this kind of happens to. And it's just the way it shakes out. And honestly, I feel like a lot of times come playoffs, obviously with the home game as well, that you're still a tough matchup, and I think history says that as well, that you can host a game and play a wild card team with a far better record, but whoever's playing the best football at that time of year, it doesn't really matter as far as record goes. So I think I don't pay much attention. It's nice knowing that we're in it, but really for us, I think more important to kind of continue to live week to week. This, division games are huge. This is a big division game on the road. Special circumstances playing at Dallas on Thanksgiving. So a lot on the line. I don't think we need to look past that at all.
Hey, Alex, with it being Thanksgiving, your story's obviously getting a lot of attention this week. I'm curious about the documentary. If you could take us back to, I guess, your decision to do it. And then when you first saw it, did you sense maybe the impact it was going to have on people?
When I decided to do it, I was still in the hospital. And at that point, infection was under control, but I was moving forward with limb salvage at that point and had a series of operations ahead of me. That's when this first, became a potential idea. It's definitely not my style for anybody that knows me. But I think the uniqueness of the circumstance, the uniqueness of the injury and the rehab and the road, as scary as it was at that time, really, I think is what made it, hard to turn down for two reasons. One, I realized how much I was benefiting from advances, not only surgically, but the rehab and the bracing as well. All those areas, there had been so many advances that was really giving me this opportunity, and felt like I was the beneficiary of those, and really wanted to document this for anyone coming after as well. And then even for selfish reasons, just to have this looking back. Sometimes you get through tough times and it's easy to look back and remember more fondly than they were. And I think just something even to have personally, for years down the line to look back and have as well.
Dallas is expected to have about 30,000 fans there on Thursday. Is that something that you have to prepare for, or are you used to it, obviously playing in front of packed stadiums for a decade plus now?
No, crowd noise, this will be new, dealing with crowd noise for us this year as a group because we haven't had to deal with it. So that will be an added challenge for us on the road. So yeah, definitely new territory for us together as a unit. But yeah, I played a long time. That's the normal most years. So you deal with it as best you can and go out there and execute your plays.
Hey, Alex, obviously we ask you a lot of questions to look back at the injury and the recovery, and you've talked about each week now. It's a new step, first game in 2 years, first start, first win, things like that. I'm sure at some point, though, your mind wandered forward. And I'm just kind of curious, where does it go forward when you get beyond, say, this week, this season? What kind of comes to mind for you with regards to your career and your life?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime, and really my mind doesn't wander there, but, anytime if it does, my wife or whatever, if we're chit-chatting, I think it's just so important to snap back into the opportunity right now. There'll be time after the season for reflection and things like that. For me, making the most of every opportunity each week, it's such a special thing, to be a starting quarterback in the NFL and an opportunity like this and doesn't get any cooler than this week, to play on Thanksgiving. Special meaning for me, especially, I think, considering 2 years ago and on the eve of this game is when everything happened. So crazy to come full circle a little bit and excited to make the most of it. But again, there'll be time to think about all that other stuff down the line.
Heather, if Heather's not on, we'll go to JP.
I'll go ahead and Heather can jump in if she joins. Alex, just wanted to ask you, you've played with a number of playmakers throughout your career. What do you think of Terry McLaurin after a couple of weeks playing with him now?
Yep, going to be tough for me to come up with all the great adjectives I'd like to come up with to describe Terry. He's a special player, special teammate, special leader. Not just his playmaking ability and competitiveness, although I think those are things that just really show up on film. Is his competitive spirit, is just ability to make plays. But I think his work ethic, his attitude, his approach to the game for a young player, he almost like he's wise for his years, for sure, so to speak. So really, really special player, special teammate. We're lucky to have him, definitely.
Alex, kind of as a follow-up to that, this year, especially with all the restrictions with the protocols and everything, how has it been developing that rapport with receivers and kind of building that connection and trust with them? I mean, have you had to do anything differently than maybe you've done in the past to get?
Yeah, it's been hard, definitely harder. You try to make the most of the time you have, the limited time together. Really tough. No off season. Camp was limited. We weren't hanging out in the same room. We didn't get to eat together. You don't get the downtime together. Really, those are so many of the times that make football so special, that make team sports so special, is that time to hang out and get to know one another. And really to grow together. That's kind of, I think, been really the biggest bummer of this year. As amazing it is to continue to play football in this pandemic, losing out on a lot of that time with each other has been hard, because that really is a lot of the special time. That really is what makes this game so great. So yeah, you do the best you can on the field. When you do get your moments, it's tough via Zoom a lot, and like I said, we don't get to eat together. There's not a lot of hangout time, obviously. So tough in that regard.
We'll take a couple more. Darren Haynes.
Hey, Alex, if you can kind of go back, because Thanksgiving obviously won't be sort of the same because of COVID and you're playing an away game. But what's that one dish that you just have to have on Thanksgiving? And are you like a two-plater kind of guy in your first serving?
I'm not doing 2 plates on the first serving. Definitely a big plate. I think it always feels good to go back. Obviously once you've tried everything, going back for the best of after for the second plate. Yeah, I don't know if I have a single dish. Turkey's great, but I feel like I'm more of a ham guy on these type of holidays. But all the sides, it's always fun, obviously, to have it all the staples, I guess. Sorry for the lame answer, but yeah, no one thing.
Thanks, Alex.
All right, 2 more. We'll have Sam and end with Rhiannon.
Hey, Alex. I know Dallas has been pretty successful on Thanksgiving, and it helps to have, a home game on a short week every year. But I wonder, is there a mystique to going to Dallas and playing on Thanksgiving, or am I making too much of that?
I don't know if there's a mystique. This is my first time, doing it. So maybe I'm misinformed. I don't know if there's a mystique. There's the tradition, yeah, that forever growing up, it was Detroit and Dallas that played on Thanksgiving. So certainly they're probably more accustomed to it and prepared for it. But the last several years, everybody has to play on a Thursday night game. So it's not that strange anymore. Ours just happens to fall on this, if you're playing on Thanksgiving, it happens to fall on this Thursday. So everybody deals with it every year. So I think it's a little more of an even playing field, I guess, probably as of late.
Thank you.
Hey, Alex, I asked Ron about the success that you've had with the deep ball and just kind of what you've been seeing. And he mentioned that, as a vet, you see certain things that give you the impression to do it. I'm almost curious, what is it that you see that makes you feel comfortable taking a shot, like to Isaiah or to Terry? Just what do you need to see to unload it, basically?
I mean, there's a lot that goes into that. I mean, the defense that gets presented, a lot of times, that dictates where the ball goes. A lot of times, depending on the play, it's not like we just call a shot and you always just put it up. They can play certain coverages that may not dictate the ball going there. I think it's a little bit, I think realizing where those one-on-one matchups are and taking those shots. And I think really a credit to our guys that I feel really good about. We've got a great group of guys downfield that are going to go and compete and are really good with the ball in the air. So feel good about all those guys down the field in one-on-one matchups and going and making plays. So yeah, I mean, I think that's the great thing in an offense is what you want, because they can't double everybody. And depending on the call that we have on with whatever they're playing, you got to be able to take those shots at certain times, and obviously important to hit them when you do. So again, really a credit to those guys down the field. We got young guys that can really roll and again, aggressive with the ball in the air, which really makes you feel good as a quarterback.